Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, I'm pleased to have a first here on the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, the boys soccer coach from Montville, Anthony Occhialini, who's going now into his second year with the program. Coach Occhialini, it's great to have you on.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me.
You know, this is a real treat for me because I don't know if you know this, or you probably don't. I played soccer throughout my whole life up until college when I decided to play strictly baseball. But soccer has a deep, it's deep in my heart. I played it throughout. I played middle back. I played left back defensively.
Yeah.
And my junior and senior year, I was the guy making the calls, like almost like the quarterback saying, watch left, watch right. I was the loudest one on the field. So it's great to be able to have a soccer coach to be able to talk about the game.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. This is going to be great.
You know, now before we get into what is the COVID season 2020 and what you've been dealing with, just kind of go a little bit into your background, because you had a great career with Montville when you were in high school.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate my freshman year to get some playing time. Our senior goalkeeper got hurt during that time, 2 games in, and I was able to get some experience early as a freshman as a goalkeeper. And then from then on, I was starting all the way until the end of my senior year of high school. I ended up being 2-time All-State. I was All New England, All-American selection as well my senior year of high school. And then I was able to go play at Central Connecticut State University. Was able to start there as well for 3 years, sophomore, junior, senior year. Got some time freshman year, and then, you know, tried it out, the semi-pro, the minor leagues of soccer a little bit with the Western Mass Pioneers and CFC Azul and the PDL and the USL developmental program. But, you know, now I'm back here teaching at my alma mater. That was the main goal, and coaching there now too as a head coach. I can't be any more happy with everything.
As a goalkeeper, I've always kind of looked at them as, pretty much the last line of defense. If they get by the defense, you're the last one. Now, you specifically, because of, being a 3-time All-ECC selection, 2-time All-State, what set you, and I'm asking you so you can be cocky if you want, what set you apart? Because I've always been intrigued by goalkeepers, because you watch the game and they're basically, having to go out and risk their body to try to stop the ball. And then if it gets past you, it's a goal.
I think a couple of things that really helped me stand out, and even when I was getting recruited by colleges, it was, number one, my communication and the demeanor that I put out onto the field. And I had this energy that players fueled off of, just like that desire to win. And my energy to be able to push someone else and just communicate and wanting to lead was a big factor. And then my bravery as well, just being able to put yourself on the line to make those big time saves, and in a one-on-one situation, or in a ball that gets played into the box and it's packed and you go out there and you're ended up making that save and getting it out of there. I think that was huge too. And then, I think my other piece was just my work ethic. I always was told that I was a hard worker. I was always staying after practice, showing up early, hitting the weight room, doing anything I could extra to make sure that I was going to be the best I possibly could at my position. And I think that my teammates and my coaches really, really saw that in me. And that really helped me get to that next level and that highest level that I was able to reach.
And you were also able to coach at Coast Guard for a number of years, 6+ years, and you were the goalkeepers coach. Now, being a player is obviously a little bit different than coaching, but for you, were you able to was that an easy transition for you, being able to go from playing and being a very standout goalkeeper to now being what is, you could in some ways say the second half of your career?
Yeah, I think the hardest part was probably wanting to be out there on the field and knowing situations that I could that I was in and that I experienced, and knowing what to do. And I think players in the goalkeeper position, the most important thing is experience. And as you move forward in your career, just like Buffon, who plays for Juventus in Italy, he's the oldest goalkeeper in professional soccer right now. And he's still in that position because he's experienced pretty much everything you can experience as a goalkeeper, and he makes the job easier. So being a experienced goalkeeper and watching a younger goalkeeper in a game and situation, I'm like, oh, like that, like I knew what was going to happen there. Like I could have probably did that, but being able to now put that knowledge into another player and give them that information and feedback, it was really great to see them make that save the next game or like later on down the road. Like see them make that the mistake that they made into a success was huge, and just being able to make a difference was the main goal. But the transition was hard in the beginning, just trying to figure out how to be a valuable coach and a valuable resource for those guys, especially since when I started, they were close to my age. I was 23. They were still, the senior was 21, so we were still close in age. So it's not like I was it was hard to be that authoritative person, but, just trying to prove that I was a valuable resource, the main thing. That was the hardest part.
When did you feel like you had as far as being with Coast Guard, the coaching aspect, when did you feel like you were comfortable enough having that where, you weren't having to second guess yourself and you were confident? And I'm sure you were confident in whatever you were doing as far as
Yeah.
the coaching side early in your career. But at
Yeah.
some point, the confidence aspect of believing it, because it's one thing to say, it's another thing to believe it. When was
Yeah.
it for you, did you feel like you had it where you believed what you were doing?
I think, I was fortunate to be able to get some really good goalkeepers in my beginning. And one of them was able to reach and be an All-American at the Division III level. His name was Richard Burns. So I was able to coach a player and help coach the Coast Guard there. But being able to then, he wasn't really the main success because that was my second year of coaching. But learning from that goalkeeper and what their needs were, and then being able to help the goalkeepers later on, the younger goalkeepers, I think the moment that one of the goalkeepers that the head coach was pretty much said, like, he's never going to start for us ever. He's never going to start when he came in. And then he ended up being a starter all senior year and was really successful and had a really successful year. I think that year, after the end of that, and the head coach like saying like that was fantastic, like never expected this, I think that was when my eyes pretty much opened up, and I was like, yeah, I think I kind of figured this out a little bit, and I became a little bit more confident in my ability, because he became an all-conference goalkeeper, and I was like, taking someone who the head coach was said, he'd probably be a backup all 4 years to having him be a starter his senior year and really be successful. I think that was huge, just being able to make that change and difference, especially in the head coach's mindset to make that. Because in the end, as a goalkeeper coach, my job is to make the head coach confident in the goalkeeper to put him in the net. So being able to make that change of mindset was huge. And I think being, rewarded and praised for it after by the head coach, that was the turning point.
Maybe this is me kind of just thinking outside the box, but in some ways, the head coach saying that that kid was never going to play, was never going to start, maybe he didn't mean it. And maybe I'm kind of just speaking in another way, but it's almost like he challenged you, like, this kid's not
Yeah.
going to start, so it's up to you to prove me wrong. Maybe
Yep.
if he even wasn't saying that. So that kind of goes back to what you said about the demeanor, the energy, the desire to win, the work ethic,
Yeah.
everything that you had as a player, you in some ways, because I'm sure you did all of that and more to help
Yep.
instill that into that goalkeeper, and the fruits of your labor showed by him starting his entire senior year. You catch what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, no, I completely get that. And, the head coach there, Chris Parsons, was by far, I see him as my mentor, like coaching wise. And I've looked up to him these last 6-7 years. And I always reach out to him when I have questions. And he did challenge me, and he pushed me to the limits to make sure that if they made a mistake, that mistake didn't happen again. And, making sure that he was confident in all my decisions, and making sure that I was confident and I wasn't second guessing myself either, and making sure that I was doing everything I could to put the best person in the net each game.
And with that help kind of now led you to now becoming the head coach in your second year with Montville. It
Yeah.
must be a pleasure for you to be able to be back with the program that you had so much success as a high school player.
Yeah, I am so excited. I mean, when that my head coach there was the head coach that stepped down. He stepped down because he got an assistant principal job in Plainfield. But he was an amazing coach as well, and he really helped me fuel my drive and my passion as well. But being able to get that opportunity, and when he reached out, letting me know what was going on with his situation and letting me know that that was opening up, I was like, that was my dream job, was to coach back at the high school that I went to. I wanted to give those players the same experience that I had those 4 years. Not necessarily just like winning and championships, but just a situation where you never forget those 4 years, and you build lifelong friendships, and that you're trying to get better as a player and student athlete, and that you're able to reach your goals, and you have someone to support you the whole way. Because my head coach, Colin Delaney there, he supported me. He still supports me now, and like whenever I need something. So I just want to be able to provide the players the same opportunity, each and every single one of them, that I had. So it's fantastic that I'm able to do that at my own high school that I went to.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think being a goalkeeper kind of best prepared you for being a head coach. Only because you think about it. Now, I go to baseball where,
Yeah.
back in the day, before they started hiring people off the street who were in the media and
Yep.
retired for X amount of years, like players
Yeah.
who have no experience coaching, they
Yep.
were, they were hiring catchers. You think of Joe Torre back in the day, Bruce Bochy,
Yep.
I can go on and on and on. Mike
Yeah.
Sosa, for example.
Yep.
So, and the reason why I say that is because a goalkeeper sees the entire field.
Yeah.
They see the defense. They see where the ball is. Kind of like catching, because catching, you're seeing the defense. You're seeing the ball come to you. You're seeing it hit out. So the reason why I bring that up is I think being a goalkeeper, you're really having to think in so many different ways. If you're caught off guard for 1 second, a goal is already in the back of the net.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. As in being able to read the game like a pitcher or a catcher, just being able to understand the situation, being that, the captain of the ship, not necessarily like you're the captain of the team, but you're seeing everything and you got everything in front of you. So I think it has prepared me, because I see an attack coming as a goalkeeper, and I know where the weaknesses are in my defense and what I want to make sure that's strong. So I think last year, in my first year, the main goal is to really set the defense up and make sure that our defensive strategy was set in stone. And then this year, focus was, on our attack now, and really take it in chunks, because we had the whole team coming back this year, which is fantastic. We didn't lose anyone. So being able to do that and know both sides and how to break down a defense and how to stop an attack is fantastic. I think the only thing that I missed out on, and my weaknesses a little bit, is maybe training the boys a little bit in the attack, because I didn't really participate in those as much. I participated in the defense and like the goalkeeper aspects of training during practice, but being able to train the attack, I think, is my weakness a little bit, just because I wasn't like in it, like understand all the different passing angles and all the different combination play that they can do. But I think being able to see how you can break down a defense, and I know where the weak links are, and I know how teams are going to defend us and how to try to break it down. That really did help me moving forward as a high school coach, as a head coach, being able to be more well-rounded, as like you're saying, in all areas of the game.
Your first year, you had EEE. This year, you have COVID. And now you also add in the fact that it's not so much where, okay, just make sure you're done by 6 o'clock and you're good. Now it's because of COVID. And I don't know all of the rules. I was only able to catch a couple, things. So I'm sure you could fill in the people who may not know. But I saw corner kicks have changed. Heading the ball has changed. There's so many aspects when you look at the game now where I wonder, when does that affect as far as the kids playing soccer itself? Because this has been such a norm for them where now like, I can't go do that. So I wonder, will that affect their play, because now they're having to think too much?
Yeah, I think that, it's definitely going to be a change with like strategies and things like that. But I think that the players are really going to take it. They've been taking it to the heart at practice and understanding the situation and what's going on. But I think that they're just really happy to play. I think that's the main thing. I don't know how until we're actually in a game, I don't know how it's going to actually really affect the strategies and everything with those aspects, or how it's going to actually take it. But the feeling I get is that the boys are like, I don't care what the rules are. Like, as long as I'm out there playing, I'm going to do the best I can. And they're just going to work hard and get through it. But yeah, I think once we're in the games and we're seeing what's happening with any rule changes or anything like that, I think it's just going to be something where it's a new experience for everybody, and we're just going to be able to take it as it comes. And the players are going to be really flexible with it, just as long as they get to play.
And how has practice been? Because I know
Yeah.
you've been lucky enough, because you think about some other sports, football, volleyball, and such, who can't even get a potential season going for various
Yeah.
reasons. But soccer and other sports are able to play. And I think because of that, it kind of gives the players a sense of ease. And you mentioned too about how they're just excited. And I think maybe in a lot of ways, because of this COVID situation, they're taking every day like it's their last. So you as a coach, you must be thrilled. Like, okay, they're as amped up as ever to be on this field. I have to bring my A game, because if I don't, and we're getting the boot tomorrow, then I'm going to kick myself because I didn't leave everything that I could on the coaching field that day.
Yep. I think every day that's literally what we say. Like, right at the beginning of practice, we're like, welcome back, guys. Like, this is fantastic. We're here for another day. We have to take this, like, we can't take this for granted. Like, we have to make sure that we understand, like, tomorrow school could close. We're not out here. So use every second that we can wisely, and use it to help build your teammates up, help your teammates get better, help yourself get better, and create an environment where, this is something that's enjoyable and fun as well. And we're also trying to go the route, like, don't take mistakes and the negatives like as serious. Like, just be positive, continue going through practice, and know that, if we do eventually get to games, that you'll be prepared and ready with what we're doing right now. And with practices right now, it's been difficult, especially with players coming from their club teams, where they were on a different schedule because U.S. Soccer had their phases. So they were actually playing games before they got to high school, which was interesting. They played a game. And now they're back at square one, where it's like they're back in 10 cohorts of 10. Practices can only be an hour right now. 30 minutes has to be fitness, and 30 minutes has to be like skill work, technical type stuff, no contact yet or anything like that. So, they were they've been getting a little frustrated about that part, because they went from games to back to, not boring, but like, the skill stuff where it's not their main drive. But hopefully next week, when we get back to full team training on Monday, it gets that little boost and passion back in them, when we can start doing some small-sided games, start getting back into full team training where they don't have to be in their groups of 10 all around the field, and we can't mix or mingle with anyone. So, I mean, they've been doing really well with that. And, every day they just come out and they're just happy to be there. You can't really see their smiles with their face masks on, but you can see it in their eyes that they're happy to be there, and they're happy to see their friends, see their coaches each and every day that they get there. It's like the first day of preseason again. So it's fantastic that way.
Is there any particular rule change because of the COVID situation that because looking at your specific team, and your team better than me, I haven't been able to get too much film on them, but is it corner kicks? Is it headers? What is it amongst the rules that maybe may affect your team? Because your team, for example, could be great at corner kicks. Well, now that changes. Or your team could be the more aggressive team, and when the ball's in the air, watch out, because Montville's going to head it 95% of the time.
Yeah.
But now you can't do that. So what exactly, could affect the Montville program?
Especially our goal this year and last year was to try to be, winning all the 50-50s, any ball that's in the air, and trying to be the strongest person in the air. We weren't the strongest last year with 50-50s, but this year was going to be a main goal. Like, hey, we're not letting anyone beat us in the air. Like, we're going to win every single ball on corner kicks and on, any punts or any long distribution like that. But I think the only strategy that we can do now based off of that is turning it now to second balls. And it's like a well-known term where, if the ball is going to be headed, right? If you're the first person to that ball to bring it down and be able to control the game that way. So I think second balls are going to be key. And so we've been really trying to change strategy that way and really trying to make sure that you're, using your body, putting yourself in good positions to win the ball, bring the ball down, working on our first touch so it doesn't have to be a header. Can we bring it down with our chest, and then play with our feet? So just increasing their technical ability, increasing their strategy with positioning on second balls if they're not the person winning the ball. But, someone might play it with their chest or with their foot off the ball in the air and then play it to you. So being able to be in that good position, to support your teammates is going to be key. So that's something that we're going to be really stressing on both corner kicks and balls in the air. It's going to be very important both sides. I don't think they were our strongest areas last year. We've been working on it a lot, but I think the strategy might change, but I don't think it was something where it was like we were overly strong in that before, where it's going to really be detrimental this year.
No, again, this is just me thinking out loud, but if there's a chance where the ball is punted, for example, and instead of a player trying to use their chest or their foot, they're just going to let it hit the ground first to maybe try to decelerate it a little bit. Has that been something where maybe you or the staff have tried to maybe work with the players on, okay, the ball is going to bounce. Watch where the ball is spinning as it's going towards the ground so you can make sure you're in that spot. Because if you're watching it and then it goes and it takes a weird skip and goes right, well, then you have the opposing team right there, and now you're back on defense.
Yeah, I think the main thing is the goal is to not let it bounce. That's our main key, is just not to let it bounce at all. And if you're not going to get to it, then to make sure you're dropping off and getting into a position where you can give yourself time to react. So it's not bouncing like, 2 yards ahead of you. But if you're not going to win it and you can see that you're not going to win it, dropping off, 5-10 yards, just so you can give yourself time and space, or maybe someone else can come get that ball for you. But if you can, trying to get that timing down where if you can go get that ball and trap it with your foot or bring it down with your chest and get it down to the ground, making sure that you're fully committing to it, and not letting it hit the ground at all. So being able to train that, it's just consistent reps, just playing balls in, giving them that situation like this ball's a little bit shorter, maybe the flight's different, maybe I can't get to it, I got to drop off. If it's able for me to go get it, I got to go and I got to fully commit. And everybody has to know that when that person does commit, the other people have to drop back and support just in case it does go by or there is a bad touch. So we have to make sure we're in supporting positions. A lot of it, and I hear myself now talking about, a lot of it is supporting positions and people helping each other out and making sure they're in a space where if someone does make a mistake or if the ball does get loose, that someone's there to clean it up and get the ball moving in the right direction where we want to go.
Do you think the first couple weeks of the season will be a high-octane offense because defenses haven't had a lot of time to be able to adjust with the new rules? Or do you think it's going to be more of a defensive game because maybe in some ways, these new rules could help out the defense? I mean, you think about the NFL, I thought that tackling would be terrible the first week.
Yeah.
I was dead wrong. I mean, I don't know if you watched any football, but tackling was by far one of the better points of the NFL, at least for the first week of the season. So what's your take on that?
I think honestly that a lot of the things that are happening right now, when I see them get into practices or like situations, that a lot of it is muscle memory and habits that they already built in the past. And I honestly I think it's going to be more of situations where we're going to be saying like, don't do that. Like stop, like you can't do that, like pulling them back. Just like you're saying with the tackling in football, like it's just natural habit. Like, what you're doing, your body's already doing it before you can even think about COVID or anything like that. You're just thinking about the game. I don't think it's going to affect them from not they might be a little hesitant here and there because their body might start going into a situation. They're like, oh, I can't do that. But I think they're just going to play like normal. And I think if there's a situation where there's a rule that's violated, like the rule will be, addressed by the official in that situation. And then it's just going to be a new habit that's going to have to be formed. But I really don't think that, I think because of past practices and past habits, I think it's just going to be like normal. And I think it's more the attack situation, like you were saying. I think the players are going to be so goal hungry and so like wanting to score and win games and go. Like they're going to be just trying to go to goal and just keep going. I think it's going to be more. It will be more attack based than defensive based. I don't think anybody will be sitting back. I think everybody's just going to be like, let's go score some goals. Like, because who knows? This could be our last game, and I want to score like a hat trick today. I think that's what it's going to be like.
Sounds like Big 12 football. Just, you know what? No defense, throw it 90 times and just see what happens.
Yep, and that's what it's going to be. Or just like NBA basketball, just pass it out 3-pointers. Just keep shooting them.
Now, so obviously, I'm not a fan of Big 12 football. I'm not a fan of threes.
Yeah.
I'm only 27, so you could say I'm old, but maybe I like some defense. But what do I? Coach Occhialini, I really do appreciate you coming on. I do have one more question for you. Give me an outlook of the Montville program, because I would love to be able to see the team play if I have an opportunity to. So to kind of give the people who may not know about the soccer program what they could expect for this COVID season.
Yeah, I mean, this was going to be one of our strongest teams, I think, in the last few years. This was the 10-year reunion of our state championship in 2010. We were really looking to strive to, go for that and win another state championship this year. The team has really good chemistry. Like I said before, we didn't lose any really key starters. We have pretty much all our key players coming back this year, which is important. We have a really star player, all-around player, Jacob Rose, who's going to be fantastic for us. He's a senior. He's looking to play at the college level as well, and he's going to be a huge impact. Cesar Amaya as well, a fantastic player in the attack, and he's always showing us his one-on-one abilities. He's really good fun to watch. But we even have a lot of good junior younger guys, Liam Cook, Aaron Muncaster, our goalkeeper, Isaiah Gallagher. He's a baseball player by heart, but the way he plays in goal, he's a pitcher, but he's been playing goalkeeper for 2 years, and he's fantastic. His natural reactions and athletic ability. Alfonso Vasquez, he's playing for Hartford Athletic this year, came from Wyndham. Isaiah, 2-year goalkeeper, saved one of his penalty kicks last year. So it's like something huge to see. Like there's a lot of talent on the team, and we play good soccer. We try to play the game the correct way. We don't just kick the ball around and just go out there and hope for the best, but we play really good soccer. We got a really good game plan this year for our attack. Our players are all ready to go, and I think it's going to be a really good, fun season to watch, especially with the cohort that we're in, the competition that we're in. I'm really hoping that we can go, don't want to jinx anything, but I think we really can do something special this year with what we have for games and what we have for our COVID season this year.
Coach Occhialini, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. And I think, I know it's only your second season, but it looks like you're starting to almost in some ways build what you had when you were a player. Now you're instilling that into the next generation of Montville boys soccer players. And it looks like things are trending and continuing to trend in the right direction. So I wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thanks for having me today.
No problem. I'll wrap things up in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm on a journey to find them all. Have a good one, everybody, and be well.